guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie Michelangelo 1/6 scale figure from ThreeZero. That's right, ThreeZero has released some really nice high-end collectible versions of the TMNT as they appeared in their first release in this new film series. So today, we're going to be checking out the brand new 1/6 scale Mikey. As you can see, he comes inside fully enclosed boxed packaging. It's got a nice orange and white motif. It's got the turtle's name and the logo of the movie on one side, and if you rotate that around, you even are treated to an image of Michelangelo from the film. Now, opening up that box reveals a tray containing your figure and all of his accessories. And as you can see, this particular figure comes with a few really cool accessories. So let's go ahead and now take a look at the figure itself outside of the packaging. So this here is our 1/6 scale Michelangelo. And if I bring in the tape measure, you can see that he is just shy of a full 12 inches tall. He's almost there all the way. So about a 12-inch tall figure. And as you can see just by looking at him straight out of the box, he is highly detailed. This guy features a lot of really great sculpt work, a lot of great details, a lot of cool intricacies that really do a great job of matching the way the character looks in that feature film. So let's go ahead and run down the figure here and take a look at some of those really cool details. Let's start with that face sculpt, which is really great. Very nice, accurate facial expression to that first film there. You can see there's a lot of really great textures in this face sculpt. Look at that. Kind of all the bumpy, almost like warty look of the skin down here on the lower portion of the jaw. The top of the head there has got some really nice like scales sculpted in there. You got the nice little spots. And even the way that the bandana coming around his eyes looks like it's a little torn. It's a little ragged. It's not perfect. This part of the bandana is all sculpted on, but the back part of the bandana is an actual cloth material. And you can see the color of the orange matches really nicely to the paintwork on the sculpted part, which I really appreciate. And you can see it's a bit dingy. It looks like it's dirty. It's got the nice little tie back here on the back of the neck. It's nice and tattered. It looks just the way it did in the film. And you got those nice bright blue eyes there as well. So really great face sculpt that does a good job of capturing the way he appeared in that film. Now, two of the accessories that you actually have to assemble or put on the figure are the two necklaces here. You can see both of those hanging around his neck. He's got this little dog tag type accessory here, and then he's got the beaded necklace with the sunglasses. So those just fit right over his head, and they're really nice. You can see that the dog tag's got a nice little metal chain piece that's hanging off. The chain itself is just a pliable plastic, but it does fold really nicely over his head. The beaded necklace, however, is an actual beaded necklace. I mean, these are real beads on here, which is really cool. The sunglasses, however, are not removable. They are actually stuck like this. They're kind of molded in place. They're stuck just hanging on the necklace. So you can just wear them around his neck. You can't take them off and put them on the figure, but this is the way he wore it in the film. And it's still really nice. You can see, you can kind of see through the lenses there. Those are actual lenses. So the details on this are really nice. I especially really like the beaded necklace. And you're going to really see that kind of detailing all the way through. There's a lot of really nice pieces that are worked in here, like the straps going around him there. Got some nice leather type feel to it. Look at this. You got this great like leather strap here. Same with the strap going across here. Look, we actually have a real buckle on there. You got the little rivets in there where the buckle would attach. And this, of course, wraps all the way around the back of the figure, both of them. Got that lighter brown, kind of more rough leather, and then you got the smooth, darker leather. It's really nice. And then looking at the detail of the shell is really cool as well. I mean, look at the way this looks like a real turtle shell. I mean, the detailing is beautiful on this. Great colors worked in there. You can see the way the design of it looks a lot like you'd see on an actual turtle, like a little pet turtle that you might have. So really great work in there. It's got a bit of a gloss to it, so it has a bit of a shine, which is really nice. You can see all the cracks and everything. And this right here has got to be one of my favorite parts of the figure. This is supposed to look like a bunch of duct tape. like he's taped up a big crack in a shell, and I was so impressed with how much this looks like real duct tape. These are like real little strands. They're not tape, I don't believe, but they do have that same kind of silver reflective nature to it, and you can see the way, I mean, they're just stuck right across the back of the shell. It's really, really impressive. And it's not the only place on this figure that we're going to see that duct tape type look, so I'll show you some more of that here in just a bit. But the rest of the detailing is really nice. Now, the skin tone here, or the skin that's used, it's kind of soft. You can see it's real flexible. It's got a nice scaly look, but it's sort of like a bodysuit that's over the articulated figure underneath. So as we talk more about articulation, you will see how that functions, but it feels real soft, and it actually feels kind of loose on his arms. You can see how loose that skin is on there. As we come down the rest of the figure, he's got this sweatshirt tied around his waist. And what I'm really impressed with, first of all, the sweatshirt is so wonderfully detailed. I mean, this is an actual shirt that's tied around his waist. It's not just like meant to look like one, it is one. And you can see there's a hole in it. It looks like it's real dirty, you know, like it's been through some wear and tear, of course. Lots of little holes and everything. And it's just tied around his waist. I mean, if you want to, look, you can like untie the little sleeves there. It is tucked up underneath his shell, but it's really impressive to see how this is just a real like knitted little sweatshirt, like hooded sweatshirt that they've just got tied around his waist exactly like he would be wearing it. So that's just one of those things that I'm really impressed by. The attention to detail on this guy is just pretty extraordinary. And we can just tie it right there back around his waist. And that brings us down to the lower portion. He's kind of wearing like these wetsuit-like pants in this film. And you can see, I mean, it's over the actual mold of the figure. So it's got that material feel to it, like it would be of a rubbery type wetsuit. And the right leg, of course, is cut off, which just reveals his normal turtle skin tone underneath. You got the nice knee pads, which you can see are actually strapped across the knee there. The little wraps around his ankle are cloth. That's actual cloth wrapped around. And then the tennis shoes. Look at the designs on these tennis shoes. I love the M. That's just a great touch. But look at that. I mean, we got the treads on the bottom there. It has such a realistic look and feel to it. Now, the laces and everything are all part of the sculpt, but it's painted in such a way that it has a very, very realistic look. I love that. So the full leg is on the right. He doesn't have it cut off. But again, this is another place where you can see like that duct tape type look. He's got like a piece of red bandage or cloth that looks like it's duct taped around his leg there. And I love that. I mean, it looks so tattered and torn and just realistic. And again, a very cool like metallic silver look to the duct tape. I love that. And you can see the same duct tape type look going across the knee pad, which you can see it's on that same stretchy type material as the one on the right leg. And again, more duct tape kind of wrapped around there. So the detailing is just really, really great on this guy. Same with the wrists. We got real cloth wraps going around the wrist. We got a little beaded chain hanging around his wrist there, which is a real beaded chain. It's so nice. So the overall design of this guy is incredibly impressive. Just the little details that they really worked in there are just so far and above, you know. It's just not something you see on a typical action figure, but it's exactly what you would expect to see on a high-end figure such as this. So really great work by ThreeZero on that aspect. So let's go ahead and talk about the articulation with this guy. The figure is said to feature at 25 points of articulation. So he's really not going to be ultra posable. You're not going to get too many dynamic, crazy poses out of him, but I think you can get just enough that you can pull off some really neat poses. The head is ball jointed. You can see it kind of rolls all the way around. Again, the turtle upper body here is sort of like a skin suit. So you can see how loose it is over the body, and it does kind of bunch up. Now, one thing I'm going to point out is when you're articulating it, you're really going to notice that. You can see how it's real loose around his shoulder here. That bugs me a little bit. Like, I understand why it's got to be there. It's because we need that great range of motion for his shoulder. So I get it. But when he is just standing there, it's a bit, it stands out. You can see the big gap between his skin there. But you can see great range of motion in the shoulders there. It's got nice tight ratchet joints. So it goes all the way up there. Really great range of motion. You can fold it all the way around. They are just socket joints. So you will notice that they tend to pop out sometimes when you're kind of rolling them around. So don't be alarmed. They will just pop right back in place if that happens to you. Now, The articulation at the elbow is underneath that like skin suit that he's wearing. So when you bend the arm, it does look really kind of funny on his elbows. So that's another minor nitpick of mine. I don't really like the way that looks. Again, I understand why this is the case with it, and the articulation does function nicely, but that just kind of, I don't know, that throws me off a little bit. It just looks like a big weird fold in his skin. It's not very natural looking. So, but you know, I guess that's just kind of one of the things you have to expect from this type of skin that they used on this particular figure. You'll also notice on the hand here, like these little knuckle protectors are loose, and they do kind of fall off a bit when you're articulating them. And another problem I had is that the wraps did start unraveling a little bit on his wrist too. So something else to kind of be cautious of. But the wrists are just ball jointed as well, so you can roll those all the way around. You can see you got a nice ball joint at the torso there, so the upper body has a great range of motion, rolls all the way around. It's nice and tight. And then, you know, we got those same kind of ratchet-like ball-like joints in the thighs there. Again, it's underneath the wetsuit, but the legs can go out. Not all the way out, but a good range of motion there. They can also move forwards and backwards, slightly hindered by the wetsuit that he's wearing, but you can roll it around there. The knees are really, really nice and tight, which I really appreciate, because a big, heavy figure like this, especially with the big, heavy shell on his back, he needs those tight knees to be able to stand. So you can get some great motion there. They can swivel those as well. And you'll notice I popped the foot off. This is what I was talking about. The joints are all ball jointed, so don't be alarmed if it pops off. It's not too bad, and you can see it actually is decent on there. I mean, you can roll it all the way around. You can get a great range of motion on that as well. So you should be able to pose him around. It's pretty good. He's, like I said, not anything too crazy dynamic. You're not going to get any really wacky ninja poses, but he still looks pretty good. To help add to the posing, he does come with a few interchangeable hands. He does have the gripping hands for his nunchuck accessory, which I'll show you in just a bit. He also has more open hands, and then he has closed fists. So, of course, you can mix and match these however you want. Like I noted, it's just ball joints. Here you can kind of see how that wrap is unraveling a little bit, so something to be a little cautious of. But you can easily just pop the hands off the ball joints and then pop the new one on in its place, and that way you can change up his posing options just a bit, and you can mix and match those however you see fit. Of course, you can't have a Michelangelo without his signature weapon, being the nunchucks, and just like the rest of the figure itself, these are very, very nicely detailed. If you kind of look close there, they do have a very nice like wood grain kind of look to them. You can see like the little dragon-like designs that are sculpted into it, which is the way the ones in the movie appeared. And it does have a nice real metal chain in between the chucks there. So they're very nice. And the gripping hands have a really nice tight grip on them. So that is really, really cool. And that way you'll be able to pose them holding onto both of those chucks, or you can do just one chuck in his hands, however you want to do it. I was kind of playing around with the poses, seeing how many different poses you can get. His articulation's not quite good enough to do like the over the back of the shoulder kind of pose, but you can still get some pretty nice poses with him wielding those nunchucks. The last really cool accessory that Mikey comes with is his skateboard, as appeared in the film. A really cool kind of hodgepodge little skateboard there. It's got the rocket boosters on it. And just like with the figure itself, the paint and the detail on this are really, really nice. You can see it's got a great kind of worn metal look to it. It looks like it is just kind of put together with all these random pieces. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a wheel off of a shopping cart, because that's exactly what it looks like. But it's perfect for the turtles. You know, we even have some words and everything on there, which is just really, really cool. So it's a cool accessory. Now, the wheels on there can turn, but they don't really spin, so he's not really going to roll with this. This is definitely more meant for display, not for play. In fact, I would say that about the figure in general. But you can pose him kind of holding onto it. Here's the only other thing I want to show you guys with it. It's a bit hard to actually pose him on the skateboard. You can see he's pretty big, and he's a pretty heavy figure, especially with that shell. When you put both feet on the skateboard, you can see it has a tendency to bend, and it makes me a little nervous. Now, you could probably play with him. I played with him a little bit trying to balance him on the skateboard. I didn't have much success, and honestly, I was a little worried I was going to break it. You can see, because it's just held together like right here on this little tiny bar on these wheels. I'm really afraid I'm going to snap that. So be cautious of that. You know, I posed him with like one foot up on it. I thought that looked pretty cool. You might be able to do better than I did if you play around with it a little bit, but it's just something that I would be a little careful with, because you wouldn't want to break it. Like I said, it's definitely more meant for display, not for play purposes. Alright guys, it's comparison time. Mostly just for scale, I'm standing him alongside a standard 5-inch Playmates Toys Mikey figure so you can see how he measures up standing alongside of him there. And to really kind of give you even more of an idea of scale, this is him standing alongside the 12-inch scale Bebop figure from Playmates Toys, so you can see how the two figures kind of compare. So there you go, my friends. There is a look at the new 1/6 scale Michelangelo figure from ThreeZero. If you are a collector of the high-end type figures, this is exactly the type of Turtles figure that was made for you. It's got a really nice sculpt, great deco, a lot of amazing little details. With my only real complaints about it being that rubber suit just kind of folds a little funny on the articulation, and the fact that it's a little easy to pop off a lot of the little details like the wraps and some of the stuff on his hands. So it's something that you want to kind of be cautious of, but as I keep saying, I feel like this figure is definitely more meant to kind of be put together, put in a pose, and then displayed on your shelf. He's definitely not really meant for like rough play or for kids to be playing with him. Of course, the price point also tells you this, considering these sell for around the $230 price point. So definitely more meant for those high-end collectors. I got to give a special thanks to ThreeZero and Toy News International for having this sent over so we can get a good look at them outside of the packaging. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, why not hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss out on one of my reviews. Until next time, my friends.